Welcome to a New Beginning podcast. I'm your host, Maureen Doyle. I'm a certified life coach, author, and coffee enthusiast. Did you know that at any moment you can create a new beginning in your health, relationships, career, or mindset? Each week, I will share simple strategies to transform your life and create new beginnings. Ready to start yours? Let's dive in. Someone once said, dream and give yourself permission to envision a you that you choose to be. Envision it and become it, and live from your future. That is the topic of today's podcast. Whenever we want to make a change in our life or create something new, we quite often will say, "This is so hard because I've never done this before. I'm not sure that I can do it." And then we hesitate and we hold back, and it becomes more and more difficult to make decisions and move forward. And ultimately, we stay right where we are. That's because our brain references the past to help us make decisions in the present. And when it does that, you will just get more of the same. Remember that our brain's job is to keep us safe, to do what is expected or predictable. Anything out of the ordinary is dangerous. So our brain thinks. Have you ever noticed that when you allow yourself to dream about the future, something new and something exciting, that your mind will pull you back to where you are right now? With thoughts like, "I've never done that before. It will never happen. Let's be realistic." And so what you have to understand is that your brain is most comfortable with what it knows. And anything outside of that is risky. It is uncertain, and it is so uncomfortable. Our mind will naturally shy away from that. When I work with clients on improving their health and losing weight, they almost always look to the past and say, "I can't lose weight. I've not been able to do it in the past." Or they might say, "Well, the weight always comes back." They're always looking backwards. They're always looking back at the past. Your past and current identity is very, very powerful. And all of the habits and the routines that you have created in your past and in your present are very well practiced. And that is why it is so difficult to create anything new. Your past self will continue to pull you back to what is known. So the easiest way to create change in your life is to imagine your future self, who has already done these changes. That future self that has already met their life partner, that has already made $1 million, that's already transformed their health and their body, that's already started a business. So I have been doing this for years. I decide what I want, and then I start to imagine it as if it has already happened. I imagine that future version of myself. And I ask myself these questions. Who is that person? What does that person think about? What does that person do? How does that person feel? What does she look like? How does she dress? What does she eat? What doesn't she eat any longer? What does she value? Who does she hang out with? I really try and get a mental picture of this future version of myself. And then I write about that person each day for just 5 minutes. And I write in the present tense, as if I am that person right now. I remind myself every day who that person is in my future, and once again, writing about it in the present tense. I write about what she's doing, how she's living, what decisions she's making, how she's feeling. And I have fun with it. A lot of times when I suggest that my clients do this, they're a little bit hesitant. And I remind them, you're just using your imagination and have fun with it. But the most important part is to write in the present tense about your future, as if you're living it right now. I call this daily scripting. And then when I finish, I close my journal, I close my eyes, and I take a few deep breaths, and I anchor that image and those feelings in my body. And it only takes 5 minutes. I do it in the morning before I start my day. Another thing that you can do with your future self is you can ask that future version of yourself for advice. If you are struggling to make a decision, ask that older, wiser version of yourself for advice. Think of that person as your very own mentor. And I promise you that the advice that you receive from this person is the very best advice. Again, take a few deep breaths, close your eyes, imagine that future version of yourself, and then ask the question. And the answer will come from your future self. So live from your future and from your possibility, and make decisions from that future version. Living from your past is very safe and it's very predictable. Living from your future is going to require you to use your imagination and become creative. And here's the thing about imagination. Our imagination is amazing. And we can imagine a very scary future, or we can imagine an amazing future. The effort is the same. So shape your present by your future. See your future self and really get to know that person. It helps you say yes and no to offers and activities and how you spend your money. So this week, ask yourself, who is your future self? What has he or she accomplished? How is he or she different from who you are today? What choices does that person make? What choices does that person make very easily? Practice being that person right now and make decisions from that version of yourself. Don't wait to become that person. Again, start to be that person right now. Let your future pull you forward instead of your past pulling you back. And this week, I want you to notice how that might happen, how when you want to go to your future, that your brain that wants to keep you safe might start trying to pull you back to the past. Start to watch what's going on in your mind. You know, creating change from your present or your past is hard. Making decisions from your future self is actually much easier. So live from your future self, my friends. Have a great week. Talk to you next week. If you enjoyed this podcast, check out my free workbook, 6 Secrets to Getting Anything That You Want. Head over to maureen-doyle.com/6secretsguide to pick up your free copy today.